Hello everyone, I've been playing the playtest for Far Far West for about 30 hours now. Completed every single challenge the game has to offer. Of course the quests as well. Beat the missions on the hardest difficulty. And basically unlocked everything that is possible to unlock, including the secrets. And in one of my last videos, I got the request of showing off my build, or a good build anyway. But let me show you what I used in order to beat Nightmare Mode, as well as a few other fun ones afterwards. So I start off with the shotgun. This is my main weapon. I use that in most games as my aim is pretty terrible, and the shotgun kind of makes up for that. I really prioritize damage on this one, so I got all of that maxed out. A little bit of reload speed. It already reloads really fast, so you don't need a whole lot in my opinion. But if you want to have it even faster, you can switch out the clip size for more reload speed. I just like to have a few extra bullets before I have to, well, reload again. And for tweaks, what I use is 10% chance to deal double damage per shot. I have that twice on here. As well as a 4% chance of shooting explosive bullets. And these do stack. So it's an 8% chance for explosive and 20% chance to deal double damage. I will admit the tweaks on weapons aren't really the greatest in my opinion. So I doubt that many people will really choose anything else over this. But let's get over to my sidearm, which I use the dual revolvers for, and I have a very specific reason. If you want to have pure damage, go for the regular revolver, it's great for that. But my dual revolvers, as you can see, I put max lifesteal on them. And then of course some damage because, well, I'm just gonna have to do something, because these aren't that strong. But the fire rate is pretty high compared to the bow and revolver, so it is really good for the lifesteal aspect. Then I put the fire element on it, and I'll go over why in a second, but let's first look at the tweaks. So besides being my healing gun, I also made it my full-on support gun. So it has a 5% chance to drop an ammo box upon an enemy's death. It's pretty good to keep your ammo flowing, even though you find quite a lot out there, but the higher difficulties, you don't find as much and you need a lot more bullets, so this is pretty nice. Then Shroom Grave, this is what you get for completing the Woodland Secret. It gives a 10% chance to spawn a mushroom upon enemy death. There is a similar one if you complete the Far West Secret. You get a healing bell. That has a 10% chance of spawning as well, but only for headshots. And this thing is pretty inaccurate, so headshots you're never really gonna get. And then I put 4% chance of explosive bullets on there twice, just to clear the larger hordes in the higher difficulties if I need some healing. So why do I use the projectile element fire? Well, for one, it deals 2 damage every damage tick compared to acid and electricity, but also it pairs nicely with the geyser, creating a fire geyser, and that combined with the strike that I have, it can do a lot of damage. So as you notice, the spells I use are strikes. This is for the aforementioned combo, but also strike is really strong for such a short cooldown, only being 35 seconds by default. Then I have the geyser, just because strike and geysers work super well together, creating a combination that explodes geysers and electricity everywhere. And again, combining that with the fire, you get like a full field of flames, electricity, acid. It's pretty good. Then for Voodoo, I use the Doll. This is the highest level of this spell category. Now leveling Voodoo is really slow compared to the other 3, but it's well worth it. Especially for Doll, which is unlocked at level 25. This grants you immunity for 10 seconds as long as you stand within the circle. But this circle is rather big and it helps out in the pain, especially in the higher difficulties. On the lower ones, I could see Ritual being pretty good. It's just an extra healing. This is basically the healing utility, which I also have, the energetic bottle, but the radius is a bit larger, and it's also on cooldown, so you don't have to find the utilities out in the wild. Then as for Hero, this could really change your account depending on what you use. Spell cooldown, I maxed out all the way. It is super helpful, especially since skills like Doll take such a long time to recharge. It's really nice. Then I maxed out health, because health is of course very important, especially in the higher rounds. And then the rest I just put into ammo, because you don't really have a choice, but also it's pretty nice. Again, with the ability of gaining ammo packs on my sidearm, you can find ammo pretty often in the levels. I don't really see the need to upgrade this over health or cooldown, and that is why I didn't. Maybe in some other builds I could see it being very helpful, like the minigun build for example. but not in my shotgun though. As for tweaks, I got Wizard. As you can see, I really love my spell cooldown. So every enemy I kill, it reduces the spell cooldown by 0.2 seconds. So every 5 enemies is 1 second, which can add up over time, especially when you go into danger zones and get a kill streak of like 83. Then next up, I got a double one here, Tweak Dealer. For this one, you gain free HP for every active tweak, and that also does include weapons. So, because I have everything maxed out, I got 4 main tweaks, then 4 tweaks on my sidearm as well as main gun, so I got 12 tweaks in total. This stacks so it gets 6 HP, while 6 times 12 is 72, plus the 5% HP which stacks on top of it as well. Big number, go big. And as you can see, this is the highest amount of HP you can get by default, which is just shy of 200. And for the last one, I just put in lower gravity. I really like the movement of this game, and while I would love to get some more jumps, I really noticed that the 25% lower gravity helps out a ton with just the general movement around. It's really great for dashing because you don't fall down as fast. You can really jump dash everywhere, and it's really good. Way better than 1 extra jump. And if you combine it with the horse jump, then a dash, and then the regular jump, you go really damn far and really high up, but even without the double jump. You can switch it out for any of the other ones if you really want to have a lower skill cooldown, that's pretty good. Also, if you're wondering why this one is still locked, the one for 500 melee kills, it is bugged, because I definitely killed way more than 500 enemies with melee kills. That is kind of annoying. And that's why I said I got every challenge possible and not every challenge. It's not part of this one, so I'm guessing they just left it out just so you can complete all the challenges and not bug it out completely. Kinda like how the screen's looking right now. But that is my main build. Let me go over some of the other ones. The sniper rifle is pretty nice as well. It's really great for long range. If you combine this with the 20% chance of getting a bullet back on headshot twice, you really don't run out of ammo often. But it's a more long-ranged, precise weapon. I mean, you can use it up close as well if you don't scope, but as mentioned before, I'm not really the best at aiming, so I put a lot more reload speed on this one because it is a lot slower than the shotgun, and then just a ton of damage, and this really carries in higher rounds as well. But if you want a solo nightmare, I would recommend something else, unless you're a really good shot with the sniper. But if you play with friends as a support guy, this is a pretty good one. And then just a 10% chance of dealing double damage, this thing can wreck bosses. For the minigun, it is something I haven't really used myself, but a friend of mine uses this, even on like the higher difficulties. Again, this is more of a support as well, but just max out the damage and then fire rate. And for tweaks, what he uses is of course the 10% chance of dealing double damage, which is pretty darn good. And then the 2 chances for explosion. And that's the build I used to beat the game. If you like playing with shotguns, definitely give it a try, it's pretty great. And I hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you all on the next one. Bye everyone.